All you need to, all you need to know about setting up, operating, and the regulation of businesses in Ghana. Thankfully, today we have a very important speaker with us to take us through tax compliance. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start, just a recap of our usual rules. Kindly keep all your gadgets on mute, and as the speaker takes on his session, please, there'll be a question and answer session during that time, you can unmute and speak. You can put up your hand and speak. You can either text to the chat box, or you can send to our WhatsApp line numbers, or to our email, which I will share in the chat box briefly. In the meantime, I think we have speakers already seated, poised, and ready to commence his speech, so I don't want to waste much more time. As most of you already know, my name is Tekla Ricketts, and this is the TJ Ricketts at Law Doing Business in Ghana webinar series, which we handle and host every month. As I already mentioned earlier this morning, we are going to be discussing tax compliance. We need to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that tax is a creature of statute. We say it's a creature of statute, then we mean it is a law, it is backed by law, and so compliance is a must. If you are not able to comply, then you are putting yourself in legal risk or legal liabilities. This means that as a businessman or as a businesswoman, you need to understand the laws that govern taxation in Ghana. You need to understand the type of business you're operating and which taxes are applicable. You need to understand the procedures, the processes in tax filings, the timelines required, the registrations required, and where there's an appeal, where and how to go about it. You need to understand tax regime to be able to comply, and not just be able to comply, to be able to arrange your affairs properly, so that as much as possible you can legally reduce your tax liabilities. Tax is very broad, and we are very grateful today to have Mr. Dominic Knapp. He's not just a prominent man, but he's very astute when it comes to tax. He's an assistant commissioner at the Ghana Revenue Authority. If many of you have followed us, you know that he's a regular on our sessions. He teaches a lot on tax. He's very skilled and an expert, and we are very honored to have you. Mr. Knapp, without wasting much time, I hand over to you to start your presentation. Please, we cannot hear you.
Morning to you, Council Tekla, and my colleagues on the call. I'm highly privileged to be part of this program. As you are aware, the Ghana Revenue Authority over the years has been trying to actually reach out to our taxpayers. We are more visible today than we were yesterday on radio, TV, and on social media handles. We are all over. The reason is because we want to actually get people to appreciate taxation and why they should pay taxes. Tax morale in Ghana, I must say, has been very low. It has been low because of lack of education. So for us, we take education to very, very important. I'm talking about tax education, very, very important. And to this end, we are happy you have access to actually be part of this program to share our perspectives, on tax matters with you and your esteemed listeners. All right. So let me share I think you have to permit me to share. I've made a request. I'm a compliant person. It says I should comply by sending a request. I've done that. All right. All right. So tax obligations for individuals doing business in Ghana. Yeah, to be frank with you, tax is actually an important tool in our socioeconomic lives. We need tax to be able to actually run this country. Tax is a needed oxygen if we have to actually transform this country in
Hello, sir.
to um,
We can see your screen now.
all right, thank you very much. So this is the order I want to go about it. We have the background, why promote voluntary tax compliance, taxpayers' obligation rise, taxes administered by GRA, then personal income tax, modified taxation, tax relief, withholding taxes, tax clearance certificate, and recent reforms in GRA, and our conclusion. Yeah, so taxes are, as I said, lifeblood of every nation. Supreme Courts have actually affirmed this. Taxes make up a significant proportion of government's total revenue. So anytime we talk about total revenue of government, taxes play a very important role. If you look at our constitution, the supreme law of the land, Article 41G, it says that every citizen has a responsibility to disclose their income honestly to the institution that is responsible. And the institution that is responsible is the Ghana Revenue Authority. And income is sourced from three areas: employment, business, and investment. So if income that you earn does not fall within these three categories, trust me, we would not ask you to pay tax because it's not known to us. Yeah, so tax is more than just a source of revenue. Tax revenues are used for. So we want to look at what we collect taxes and use them for. Let me just start by talking about some misconception. Oftentimes, and I think that it has to do with the way we do politics in Ghana, we talk about it as if it is just loans that we use in developing our country. It is tax. If we borrow, we have to pay. And how do we pay? We pay through taxes. So it's not a borrowing that is developing the country, but it's the taxes which are actually developing the country. So what it means is that you, me, everybody, we have projects, roads, bridges, hospitals, schools. It is our tax that actually would finance that. Recurrent expenditure, salaries paid to government employees, security services, doctors, nurses, and you name them. Social intervention programs. We have livelihood empowerment against poverty. We have free SHS that we currently are so familiar with. National health insurance schemes are all funded or financed through taxes. And statutory payment, our GET fund, road fund, district assembly common fund are all financed through taxes. Ladies and gentlemen, I must say that we cannot actually finish itemizing what taxes are being used for. Just to mention a few. Now let's look at the obligations of a taxpayer. To be frank with you, the taxpayer has some obligations, equally has some rights. The obligations are one, you have to register with the Ghana Revenue Authority. You have to register with the Ghana Revenue Authority. So the registration are two folds. One, we call it tax type registration. When you register with us, we are able to tell the taxes that are applicable to your business operations. For example, you set up a sole proprietorship. We are going to ask you, do you have employees? Of course, even if you don't have now, in future you are going to have. So we tick that box. You will pay your personal income tax, we tick that box. If you are into VAT, I mean, what you are into is actually taxable supplies. We tick that box and so on and so forth. Why are we doing that? We are doing that for us to know that these are the taxes that you are actually responsible for. And these are the taxes that you are likely to actually submit a return on. Then we also have what we call the TIN, taxpayer identification number. So registration, we don't really call our taxpayers by name. We would identify them by the number. In the case of individuals, the Ghana card serves that purpose. Oftentimes, we hear that the Ghana card is a taxpayer identification number. That is quite erroneous. It is not a taxpayer identification number. If you are using it for the purpose of tax, then it plays that rule. Otherwise, it is meant for what it is actually being used for. So you can use it for multiple purposes other than only tax. But if it is a corporate entity, then we expect you to register for a TIN that is applicable to corporate entities. Now, once you register with us, we also require that you file your tax returns. Filing your tax returns is just about telling a doctor what is wrong with you. So if you file, you are giving us information, detailed information about yourself. If you earn income, we expect you to state that the cost incurred in the generation of the income must also be stated. So we are matching income against cost. This is just to tell you that we don't tax your capital. We tax the resource of your capital. What your capital is used for is what we tax. We don't tax your capital. But it behoves every taxpayer to know that the tax return is actually a vehicle that conveys every information about your business to the Ghana Revenue Authority. And you don't only just file, but you file on due dates. Each return has a due date that you have to actually comply with. Then paying taxes on due dates. You have to also pay your taxes on due date. You don't pay taxes when you are actually making losses. You pay taxes when you are making profits. Let's take note of that. Then we also require that you give us full disclosure, complete and accurate. The Constitution talks about disclose your income honestly. Honestly, you may provide some disclosures, but the question we're asking is, does it really reflect what you are earning? Let the truth, stand. Let the truth about your business stand. That is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, we also do know that GRA must also play its role to ensure that taxpayers are able to comply with their obligations. That we are doing. By the end of this lecture, I will let you appreciate what we are doing as GRA to help taxpayers be able to seamlessly comply with their obligations. Now, we want to look at types of taxes administered by the Ghana Revenue Authority. We have corporate income tax, that is taxes paid by corporate bodies. We have tax on gains of a realization of capital assets. We have gift tax. Is that okay? We have personal income tax. We have stamp duty. We have pay as you earn by employees. And let me just say that the pay as you earn, taxes paid by employees, the employers are not those paying the taxes. It's the employees who are paying the taxes. But employers are to act or to facilitate the payment. The employers serve as conduit through which the payment would come to the Ghana Revenue Authority. When there's overpayment by way of PAYE, we expect that when the employees file their tax returns, then they claim. We don't expect employers to file claiming for overpaid taxes by employees. The employees are only advancing your interest by any payment that they make, which is more than what the law requires of them. It is their entitlement and not the entitlement of an employer. Then we have withholding taxes, and we have dividend, interest, rent, natural resource payment, etc. These are withholding taxes which are required to be paid. Withholding taxes are not new taxes. They are either corporate taxes or they are the personal income tax paid, just that it is actually paid in advance by a withholdee, a person who suffers a withholding tax. And they form part of the tax payment of the withholdee. There are three sources of direct income tax liable. As we mentioned, employment income, business, and investment income. If you look at section 4, 5, and 6, they are all stated in Act 896, as you are aware. Now, our direct taxes continue. We have vehicle income tax. We have taxes by way of gifts. And let me just dilate on this. When you receive gifts, we look at gifts from three angles. If, as a result of employment, you receive gifts, we add it to our employment income. So, for example, you are working in a bank. A customer comes to withdraw money and says, take this. It is because you are an employee. That is why they are giving you the gifts. And therefore, we expect you to add it to your employment. Now, if you are running a business and you also receive gifts by way of business, let me give you a typical example. You are actually a distributor for, let's say, Gasem. Gasem, we know, is a manufacturer of cement. So if you are a distributor for them, then we expect that you would actually be known as a distributor. Now, if you perform well, they may decide to actually give you something, a gift. Let's say a vehicle to support your operations, some equipment, maybe computers, what have you. All these are gifts associated with the business. And therefore, we expect you to add it to your business income. Now, we have gifts which are not employment related, which are not business related. Those ones, we call them, or they are part of what we call investment. Your sweat investment. Some investments that have come about, but you may not even be able to trace. In that case, the law says that if you are an individual, you may choose to have a tax, at the rate of 25%. Or you may choose to have the individual tax rates applied to those gifts. So by way of emphasis, I must say that all gifts are taxable. All gifts are taxable. It is not only applicable to Ghana, it is applicable to all countries that I have interacted with. So gift tax is not alien, it's not new, it's not novel. It has been with us, just that only few comply. So, Council Tekla, if at Christmas you receive gifts, we expect you to comply with the tax laws. Then capital gains tax, now called tax on realization of capital assets. If I have a capital asset, let's say shares, I have land, I have building, I have interest in any of them, and I realize them, I no longer become the owner. The law requires that I actually pay tax on it. And it is the market value or the amount realized minus the cost of acquiring it, cost of improvement, and cost that relates to its realization. I will deduct all, and the difference is what I'm going to pay to the Ghana Revenue Authority. And individuals may choose to have a tax at 25% or may choose to use the individual tax rates to apply to it. So the question I'm asking is, if really we were all committed to all this, trust me, we'll be able to transform Ghana within the shortest possible time. And that is why this discussion for me is very, very important, so that we all know our rights and also know our obligations to our country. Now we want to look at indirect taxes. Just look at it this way. Taxes are looked at from two angles. We have what we call taxes on income or the resource or activity that you perform, taxes on income. Then we have taxes on what we call transactions or event. Transactions or event. Now we talk about income or resource or activity. We are talking about the profits that you make when you engage in business. Is that okay? When you engage in income generating activity. So the resource, we don't tax capital, as I said, we tax the resource. If the resource is negative, obviously we don't tax it. But if it is positive, we tax it. Then the transaction or the event has to do with VAT, the value added tax, which is a consumption expenditure tax. And also, when we import anything into the country, the taxes that we pay, we call it either transaction or event. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at the transactions or event taxes. We have the value added tax. We have the NHIL. We have the get. About COVID-19, the minister said he was going to abolish it. Has it been abolished? Yes, the minister did mention that it was a campaign message. It was actually a commitment by the government. Just that the minister in his budget statement mentioned that he was going to look at the reforms on the VAT landscape, and the reforms will also tell us exactly what we should do about the COVID-19. While others are advocating for its removal, others are also saying that, can we have a different name for it? Maybe health tax, whatever. So this is a conversation that we are going to have nationally and to take a decision regarding how we intend to go. Then we have the e-levy. The e-levy, the good news is that it has been abolished. It has been abolished. In fact, repealed. So we are no longer really paying that. Then we have communication service tax, taxes which are actually mobilized through the communication services that we engage in. We have excise duty, we have import duty, we have export duty. Export duty is sparingly, collected. The reason is because we intend to actually boost our exports. So we really don't collect export duty as such, but it's one of the tax types that we have under the indirect domain. Then we have personal income tax, taxes paid by self-employed individuals, sole proprietors, directors, and employees. Usually when we mention personal income tax, people think that it is only taxes paid by self-employed persons. But the category of individuals put together is what we call the personal income tax. So individuals, personal income tax, corporate entity, corporate, tax. And in the calculation of personal income tax, the law requires that you deduct all expenses which are germane or all release which are associated with that particular income. You deduct them, and the difference is what you use what we call the individual tax rates or the calculated tax rates to pay. Taxes are paid either monthly or quarterly. Monthly or quarterly. If you are running a business, you intend to actually pay your taxes monthly instead of quarterly, please, you are free to do that. You need to generate a tax bill to pay through Ghana.gov or use the USD code *222#. And let me just also say that in Ghana Revenue Authority, we don't accept cash. We don't want to do with your cash. Go and pay to the designated area and we would access it, from there. We don't want to. If you are coming to GRA, you are coming to transact business, but we don't want to have anything to do with cash. Cash management is best handled by banks. We have a very, if you like, a very dedicated mandate to raise revenue. That is all. So when we are raising revenue, go and pay your taxes elsewhere, come and give us the evidence, and we are good to go. To pay tax, you must register. So you can't just pay tax, otherwise it will be hanging. Register. Let's know who is paying. Then declare your income and pay taxes monthly if you have to pay monthly, and pay quarterly if you have to pay quarterly. These are businesses that we think that they should come into the tax net. Oftentimes, we hear people talk about a lot of persons who are not on the tax net, and that GRA is being discriminatory. We are not actually doing discriminatory. We are doing our best to get everybody to pay. But we think that if we continue to sensitize persons about taxes, then people will begin to realize the need to actually work to the Ghana Revenue Authority to pay their taxes. There's no exemption unless maybe the law specifically says so. So you would have also heard of modified taxation, modified taxation, modified taxation. Operating in the informal sector to pay their taxes. I must say that sometimes putting together the tax return to pay can be very, very demanding. And we think that that is also adding to persons not wanting to actually comply with our tax laws. So to this end, the law has actually envisaged the need to come up with what we call modified taxation to promote voluntary tax compliance and expand the tax, revenue. Modified taxation puts individuals into three main categories. And let's listen to it carefully. We have the presumptive tax based on installment. Taxes based on installment. We have the one that is also based on turnover. That is based on turnover. Now, in the case of the installment, your revenue, your sales, should not exceed 20,000. Should not exceed 20,000. In the case of the presumptive tax based on turnover, it should exceed 20,000, but it should exceed 500,000. That is a category. Then we have the modified cash basis. The modified cash basis. The modified cash basis is also just like the standard assessment that is used, just that it is quite simple. There are no complexities, no transfer pricing issues here and there, and so on and so forth. Now, to qualify for the modified taxation, individual must be resident of Ghana, and their income must also be sourced from Ghana. Once you get some income from outside the country, then you cannot operate, the modified taxation. And if you have multiple sources of income, you can also operate. So, ladies and gentlemen, individuals that cannot actually operate under the modified taxation are as follows. Professionals with formal qualification. So we have accountants, lawyers like Tekla. She cannot come under the modified taxation. Yesterday she was calling for it. We have to do modified taxation. I'm here to disappoint you. You don't fall in that category. Engineers and so on and so forth. So you see, you call for a rain, the rain has come, and you cannot benefit from it. Individuals engage in business with high profits to turnover ratio. So once your turnover ratio is high, you cannot operate under the modified taxation. The individuals operating more than one business, you can also fall under that. Individuals operating business with multiple outlets, you can also, once you have multiple outlets, you have what we call branches, you can't. Then partners in a business of partnership cannot also fall under the modified taxation. The individual who voluntarily opt out of presumptive taxation. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the story. Documents that are needed to be able to run the modified taxation. We are talking about national identification card. We are talking about Ghana post address or digital address. We need telephone number. We want turnover of businesses. Then business registration document or permit. Registration option shall be the MTS portal, mobile application, and so on and so forth. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to individual businesses, we know the nature of such. Normally, they are always not at one place. They move out. I mean, today they are here, tomorrow they are over there. So we are saying that at least give us some kind of address that we can always reach out. The game is just interaction. Are you getting it? So we interact with our taxpayers. We want to know where they are. They must also know where we are. Now let's look at the rise of the taxpayer. We looked at the obligation. We also want to look at their rights. The rights are not actually conferred by individual. It is conferred by law and has to be respected. Pay only the right amount of tax. So you don't have any, nobody should compel you to pay more than what the law requires of you. Penalty, interest, nothing more, nothing less. If it is 0.50, it should be 0.50. Don't give don't give more than what the law requires of you. Objections and appeals. You see, the tongue and then the teeth are always fighting, but they never get separated. That is how GRA and then our taxpayers are. We love each other. Sometimes we come across as being not having healthy relationship. But the truth of the matter is that we are together. Nothing can separate us. Yes. So if we provide a tax decision or a taxpayer, and the taxpayer is not too happy, the taxpayer has the right to object, to tell Commissioner General that, Mr. Commissioner General, respectfully, I'm not satisfied with your decision on me. And my dissatisfaction is stemmed from ABC, and you must do so within 30 days. You can also appeal against the Commissioner General's decision. The law allows you. You cannot take everything hook, line, and sinker. You can't always have a reaction. Then right to assistance. If you are filling a form and you don't know how to navigate, we ask that you can always ask for some kind of support. Then you can ask for help, you can ask for information. We have dedicated persons who are always available to provide. And Council Tekla would bear with me that anytime she calls me on an issue, I'm always up and right to provide, because I know that if she understands, then my revenue is guaranteed. Quality service. Yes, GRA must provide you quality service. Responsiveness, courtesy, clarity of understanding, we need to actually provide you give you our utmost best. Then we must also ensure that information we hear about you are kept in confidentiality and in privacy. So, under no circumstance, but having said that, ladies and gentlemen, the law also allows us, if we have to provide information about you to the Minister of Finance, to the Ghana's government statistician, to tribunals or courts, or to the Auditor General. The law also has given some kind of specifications, and they must be used for the purpose for which they are being requested. Then a right to representation. As a taxpayer, you can ask any taxpayer to actually represent you. But you see, we have to do it within the law. You should write to the Ghana Revenue Authority, I want ABCD to represent me. We often have situations where somebody comes and says, I'm representing so and so. When we don't have any formal communication, that becomes quite difficult. Is that okay? Difficult because we are not aware, and we are supposed to also hold conversation or information about taxpayers in secrecy. Here's a case, somebody comes and says, I am representing. Who are you? So please, we beg you, let us know who your representations or representatives are, and so that we can deal with them quite clearly. A right to relief. A relief actually is an incentive that would reduce your taxes. A right to a refund when you overpay taxes, refund. And a right to a rebate. If the law allows that some taxes should be reduced, why not? For example, we have locational incentives for individuals who are aged up to 35 years. A rebate, depending on where you are located. So all those things are available and they are for grabs. Yeah, so tax release. Let me just go through them. So these are the lists that we have. If you are married, or if you are not married, but you have responsibility, the law says that you'll be given 1,200. You are married. Is that okay? So you have 1,200 as a relief. If you are not married, but you have 2 children minimum, you are not married, then the law says that you'll be given a responsibility relief also amounting to 1,200. You are married and you have 2 children. Do you take the 2? No, you take only 1. That is the marriage relief because you are married. But this one is meant for persons who are single and have 2 dependent children. They can take responsibility. Somebody asked, so if I have 1 child and I'm not married, the law says, yeah, you don't have responsibility. Child education up to a maximum of 3 children attending school in Ghana. If your children are attending school outside the country, obviously you cannot fall within this category. And it's 600 per child, limited to 3 children. So if you have 2,200, if you have 3,800. Aged dependent relatives, if you have relations who are 60 years and above, not necessarily your father and mother, but you are taking care of them, then you have 1,000 per relation, limited to 2. So if there are 2, then 2,000. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see all these are geared towards reducing the tax exposure of the taxpayer. So government is actually a listening government, does not only impose responsibilities, also provides some reliefs. Then we continue. If you are disabled, you are physically handicapped, you have 25% of your assessable income from employment or business to be given to you as a relief. That is mouth-watering. Cost of training allowance, if you are into undertaking professional, technical, or vocational training, the law has given a maximum of 2,000. That's the maximum. So if the cost is 3,000, we'll give you 2,000. If it is 50 Ghana that you have incurred, it is 50 Ghana. The maximum is 2,000. The mortgage interest. Yes, government has a responsibility to provide citizens with accommodation. But because of constraints, it becomes very difficult. Now, government has provided a platform. If you take a loan to put up a house, 1 house in your lifetime, the interest paid is given as a relief. And a lot of people have actually taken advantage. They are going in for loan and putting up buildings. And the government is absorbing the interest. This is also mouth-watering, and it is there for grabs. Then we have old age relief. Once you turn 60 years and above, then you are given a relief of 1,500. So you can see that everybody has been properly taken care of by the law. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what our tax rates are, the individual tax rates. So when you get the slides, then you can look at them. So that is that. Now we have withholding taxes, and I'll come back and talk about the. Okay, maybe when it comes to questions, then would answer. We have withholding taxes, and withholding taxes really are taxes which are deducted at source. When it comes to wages, salaries paid, the employer is required to withhold. When it comes to fees paid to board members, the company is required to withhold. When it comes to dividend paid by companies, the company is required to withhold. Payment to part-time teachers, payment to examiners, and so on and so forth will all suffer a withholding tax. When you take a withholding tax as an authorized agent, you are required to actually make the payment available to government on or before 15th of the month following the month it's released. Let me just dwell on the withholding tax when it comes to especially rent. Individuals cannot withhold. Individuals cannot withhold, but there are some exceptions. Individuals that rent accommodation and are using accommodation for business, they are required to withhold. Then individuals who run schools and have board members, they have teachers, they are also required to withhold. So let's take note of some of this. Now, parties involved when it comes to withholding taxes, we have what we call the withholding agents or the authorized agents. Then we have the withholdee, and then we have the Ghana Revenue Authority. The Ghana Revenue Authority is the recipient of the taxes, and the withholdee is a potential person who actually pays the withholding tax. And the withholding agents are those who are authorized to do the withholding. Then these are the rates when it comes to the withholding taxes. Rent tax, 8%, final commercial, 15%. So for example, if let's say you rent, your company rents a place like Council Tekla, her company has rented where she is, I'm sure. Then when she's paying, making the payment, the management is required to withhold 15%. We have dividend paid to shareholders. The withholding tax is 8%. Interest paid is 8%. Natural resource payment, 15%. Supply of goods to resident, 3%. Then supply of services, 7.5% to individuals who are resident, to persons who are resident in Ghana. Supply of works, 5%. Directors' fees, 20%, not final. Part-time lecturer or invigilators, 10%. Endorsement fee, where persons endorse certain products. For example, at the day you say, fun, nice. So endorsement fee, 10% final. We have sales agent, 10%. We have corporate tax, which is 25%. Of course, the corporate tax, there are also categories. If you are a manufacturer located in Accra, 25%. Regional capitals, you pay 18.75%. And any other area, you pay 12.5%. So all these are geared towards making the taxpayer comfortable. Ghana Revenue Authority that operates in the ecosystem really has been listening to the taxpayers' concerns. Taxpayers over the years have asked for some convenience when it comes to tax payments. So we now have what we call the online payment. You don't have to actually come to GRA. You can pay via Momo. You can go to your bankers to make payment and so on and so forth. And I can tell you, you can stay in the comfort of your home and make tax payment. That is actually a very good novelty, if you ask me. Online filing, you file online. You don't need to print anything to go to GRA. Just go to our portal and file online. This is also mouth-watering, quite convenient if you ask me. Cashless office. We don't expect you are coming to GRA to transact any other business, come empty-handed. We don't need money to be displayed on our premises. Then we have the ICAMS, Integrated Custom Management System. This is also a platform that allows for easy clearing, classification, and valuation with some amount of efficiency. I can bet my last person, and you can do your checks. A lot of customers or importers are very happy. I should say all of them are very happy with this ICAMS because efficiency, productivity, and all these things have been enhanced. Then we have customer experience. Hey, GRA staff cannot just do anything. We have been told and warned that the customers are our clients, and therefore we need to really make them comfortable. It is not easy to pay tax. So if a person steps out to want to pay tax, then we must create the enabling environment for that to be done. That is how can we provide red carpet treatment to our taxpayers. Indeed, our commissioners will say that, or Commissioner General, don't say taxpayer, say client. It's not every taxpayer who really pays tax. Some take a refund. What about that? So that is that. And customer experience is now an integral part of the Ghana Revenue Authority. So you can see that we have now changed from the way we used to do things. A lot of things have not changed. You can't, we are friends. Today I'm a tax officer, tomorrow I'm a taxpayer. Indeed, I'm also a taxpayer, even as a tax officer. But tomorrow, I'm not going to live in GRA forever. I'll find myself certainly on the other side of the aisle. So that is what it is. There have been recent tax reforms, amendments, and repeals. E-levy, Momo, they call it Momo tax, a very interesting and controversial tax. Obviously, I mean, it didn't actually make sense, if you ask me. My candid opinion. Why would I pay happy about it? And thanks to goodness, it has been taken out. Yeah, so that yam has been dropped. The withholding tax on unprocessed gold has also been dropped. So GRA must do whatever it takes to be able to get persons to comply. So that's what it is. Emission levy actually was passed into law, but never got started. So we have also repealed it. So as we speak now, it's no longer there. The refund account has also been reduced from 6% to 4%. This what we do is that every tax money that we collect, 6% would go into refund. But over the years, it has been realized that the refund doesn't really go beyond 4%. So the Minister of Finance has decided to actually reduce it from 6% to 4%. Let me just allay the fears of persons who have some trepidations and concerns that, look, the 4% is more than adequate to provide refund, efficiently and swiftly to all taxpayers who have a refund, to make. Then VAT and he'll get fund COVID. The reforms are underway. In fact, the Minister of Finance, GRA, they have gone far with the reforms. And very soon, we'll have a national conversation regarding how it should go. As I speak to you now, there has been stakeholder sensitization regarding how the VAT would actually look like. We want to have a VAT that is acceptable to all, that doesn't really create a kind of issues that we have with the current VAT. Tax clearance certificate is also a certificate that is issued to a taxpayer who has complied with their tax laws. And it says that you have paid your taxes. It says that you have fulfilled all conditions satisfactorily. So the Commissioner would issue that as a proof. Are you getting it? And we now do it online. So these days, you don't have to come to GRA to get a tax clearance certificate. You can do it online. So institutions required to request for tax clearance certificates are Ghana Revenue Authority, Lands Commission, government agencies, professional bodies, Ghana Immigration Service, embassies, and high commissions. Now, ladies and gentlemen, so this is a story. They require them, and we are also very ready to actually issue them to our taxpayers to really show our commitment to the reforms that are underway. Oh, sorry. So submit application to Ghana Revenue Authority if you want a tax clearance certificate, indicating the purpose. In fact, each one must have a purpose. There must be a reason. It's not omnibus. We don't want a situation where you pick a tax clearance certificate from us and then you go and do something else. Commissioner General verifies compliance status, and it is issued within 48 hours. In fact, that's our service promise, and we have always kept to that. Once you meet the distance, within 48 hours, we are not saying that in 48 hours, within, you can always have it. In conclusions, give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's. Thank you very much, and I will now listen to your questions and provide answers. Thank you, Council Tekla, for providing this platform for GRA to be able to actually have some interactions with your numerous funds. Thank you very much.
Wow, this is a full tax lecture or class. Ladies and gentlemen, we have heard it, or I think somebody has tested already in the chat box. And if you are not here earlier, please, the floor is open for questions and answers. You can put up your hand, you unmute and ask your question. You can text it in the chat box, or you can send to our WhatsApp or the email we have provided already. There's a raised hand from Mr. Kojobedu.
Hi, good morning.
Unmute. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, please, I'm Kojo. I would like to know two things. The first is in relation to the gift tax. I would like to know the threshold within which you will be required to pay tax within a year? Because I know from other jurisdictions, we have threshold of specific amount above which you are supposed to pay a tax on it. And the second issue is the problems clients normally face at the GRA office. For instance, when you attend to the office to even register for VAT, it's quite complex and discouraging. So I have clients who go and even return back to the offices that we went to the GRA office, Adenta or Medina, to open a VAT certificate and to pay tax, but they don't do for us. They tell us stories, go and after, because the requirements are, I know, is the certificate of incorporation and your address and stuff, but they provide these things and it becomes difficult for them to register to pay their VAT. So that's the only two issues I have, at least till now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lisa, will you respond or we should take more?
Let's take 5 so that I can respond.
Okay, so 5, I see. Please unmute and identify yourself and please speak. I see Pat Sim. Oh, yes. Please, your hand is up. Kindly unmute and ask your question.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Bunny, kindly proceed.
Thank you very much, Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner. My name is Peter Bunny. My question is on the withholding tax, the 7.5 withholding tax. I run a business where I take third-party vehicles to execute jobs, and sometimes you negotiate with these third parties, which probably are individuals, and then you use their vehicle. They charge you, you agree with them, you go and take a job, and you put your, as in your service charge on what the third party has charged. Now, after the job is done, you provide your invoice, and then you state your service charge on the invoice. But the companies want to take the 7.5 from the entire amount, which ends up affecting even the amount that the third party you had agreed with and you are supposed to pay. So you run the business, and at the end of the day, you make zero profit and you are even indebted to the third party. This has been an issue, and today that I have gotten you here, I will need some clarification on this. Thank you.
Okay, so one last person.
Yeah.
Madam Evelyn, I think you have a question.
Yes, Tekla.
Please proceed.
Very good morning to all of you. And then to Dominic, that is an insightful presentation. I just do not know if I had missed out on something, but my question is, what is the tax position when it comes to NGOs in relation to donor support, their staff, and everything regarding NGOs? Because since we are to declare profits, and these organizations that are non-profit organization, I would like to know the tax position or what the law says about that. Thank you.
Mr. Nav, will you
All right.
respond or we should take more?
No, let me just respond quickly.
Okay.
The first one has to do with the gift tax, the threshold. Yeah, so under the previous law, we used to have a threshold, for it. But under the current law, there's no threshold. And let me just hasten to say that tax laws that we work with are actually coming from Parliament. And we all have our representations in Parliament. So when a law comes from Parliament, what it means is that you have a stake in it because your parliamentarian has also voted. So suffice to say that there's no threshold. It's 25% on whatever gift that you receive. And I think I agree, because the point is that what is the cost to you? It's a gift. So if it is a gift, then the whole of it should be taxed. Is that okay? So that is that. VAT, you want to raise some VAT, and then you meet a lot of frustration. Let me first of all apologize, for that. I can tell you that we have a service promise to make our taxpayers feel very comfortable dealing with us. Without you, I have no job. If today there's no taxpayer, I'll be rendered jobless. So I need you to keep my job. So we really need to do everything to support whatever you do. But I guess we need to do something as GRA. We have various categories of staff. We have management, senior, and then we have junior. We also have national service persons. We also have the NAPCO. We haven't actually laid them off, so they are with us. And we have persons who also come to do attachment from the various universities. To be frank with you, I always say that when you go to any GRA office, please go and talk to the manager, the office manager. The office manager would assign you somebody actually take care of you. Oftentimes, when we meet anybody on the premises, everybody wants to look very important. Oh, tax, yes. Oh, then he takes you to a corner and he's talking. Meanwhile, I mean, it's not everybody who actually talks about tax in the offices. So I beg you, anytime somebody, if he has time, you take care of you. Otherwise, if you just walk into the GRA office, you want VAT invoice. Trust me, some of them may not even understand what it is. And they are talking, oh, no, it's not available. Go to head office. Go to Commissioner General. Commissioner General does not administer those things at his place there. So they keep really frustrating taxpayers, and I think that is not too healthy. We have to also try as much as possible within our powers to limit that kind of frustration. I want to apologize on behalf of GRA for what you probably might have gone through trying to actually do things right for Madagascar. I'm sorry about that. Mr. Peter Bani, yes, your withholding tax concern is quite something I can relate to, something that I sympathize with. When it comes to issues about withholding taxes, we just have to be very, very careful from our end there. I guess we have to also make the GRA understand whatever it is. The law is very clear. It says that if it is goods and the person is resident, it's 3%. If it is services, it's 7.5%. If it is works, it is 5%. Now, the point is that the nature of the contract, what is it? Is it goods? If it is goods, 3%. If it is service and there's an element of goods, we are looking at the nature of the contract. What is it? So if the service is minor and the goods are major, then it should take the character of 3%. So again, a situation where we are taxing you for your service, and then we are also taxing some of the parts that you probably that is reimbursable. Are you getting it? I think that's not right. We need to do things right, and I think that okay. Hello.
Yeah, let me come in. This is very broad. There's a lot of follow-up to this. I currently have a situation with DHL, and I did a job for
DHL.
them. I engaged, DHL Ghana. I engaged third parties, and these trucks, before you go for them, there is an agreement with these individual truck owners. They tell you, okay, I'm taking maybe 7,000 for this trip, right? Now,
Okay.
out of 7,000, they are using about 70% on fuel. So they give you this truck, you go to DHL and say, okay, I'm giving you this, I'll be able to take this job on 7,200. You agree with them. I said, okay, because of A, B, C, and D, my service charge is 200 on this job. So I don't have a problem you charging me the 7.5, but if it falls on my service charge, at least I'm okay with that. But when it's time for payment, then they apply the 7.5 on the entire amount, you understand? And as I talk to you, checks have been held because I cannot continue with this. And it's putting me in debt. And I don't think this is how GRA wants us business, operators to suffer.
Okay.
So
All right.
I need
That's fine.
help.
Mr. Peter. Okay, that's fine. So what I would advise is that let's really have a conversation outside this platform.
Okay.
Because the third parties that you are engaging, we need to also understand some of this. You can write to us, we'll give you clarity. You can also engage me offline, and then I'll invite you to the office. And once I understand what exactly it is, I can make a paper to the commissioner. I am with the policy programs department of GRA. So if there is some inconsistency with our law regarding your business, because we want you to actually be in business, then we have to actually draw the commissioner's attention and it will be rectified. So I really would want to engage you, understand, because you have a peculiar situation, and see how we can fix that problem for you. We don't want you to be out of business. We want you to be in business, grow it, so that you can employ a lot of Ghanaians. Yeah, so NGOs, what are the tax obligations? Yeah, so when it comes to NGOs,
I think I have a contribution on that line. Hello, sir.
Contribution, okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think the issue with such company dealing with third parties, when they are issuing the invoice, they should state in the invoice that this amount, like he put the maybe fuel, he put the amount, then he will put his service charge. But it's like what I've seen they do, they bulk everything together. And once you bulk everything together, now you leave the person who is paying no option than to put the 7.5 on the bulk amount. But once you put those elements
no,
of cost,
boss,
then
you know what? Yeah, I'm not cutting you short, but you see, that's why I said we should invite you. But the point is that the contract with that person is also supposed to suffer a withholding tax. It's a big conversation that we need. I don't want us to try to discuss it here. So I've just asked that he should get in touch.
Yes, sir. I will get in touch, but to clear his
see how we can solve.
Mind on the follow up is I construct the invoice the same way he's talking about it, but I'm still suffering.
Not to worry. For want of time and for the menu, I can tell you I have about 20 questions on the WhatsApp, and I
so
see more hands
we'll get
up. Yes.
Exactly, so that we can have many more people too. You have a peculiar issue.
So Peter, don't worry. Once he has confirmed that you can write to him, that door is opened. If anything, if any challenge, just call us. We'll assist you with that. And let me read a few more so I'll read two from the chat box and I'll read two from the WhatsApp, and I will give opportunity for one person to ask, and I think we can bring our session to a close. We have a question. Those of us requested for the slides and then the recording. Yes, can you send us a message on our WhatsApp page so that we can ensure we share with you once we receive same. Under reliefs, can the taxpayer pay professional fees from the provision If you belong to a professional body, how does one get the relief? Is it at the end of the year when filing for the year? Okay. In one of my engagements with GRA, in respect of payments of payee, my company was facing liquidity difficulties because our income stems from fees collections. We wrote to GRA to give us some time to settle based on our scheduled inflow. GRA refused our schedule and proposed this. We defaulted because we were unable to meet their payment schedule as a tax compliance company. Is GRA not in such situation consider our requests? Then how does GRA deal with gifts made in a will under the will? Then from the WhatsApp page, we have low-cost affordable housing. Is there a tax rebate? How do you process this? We have someone asking, taxation of foreigners doing business in Ghana. How is the process? Are we taxed the same as locals? And the last one from the WhatsApp I'll read. All the others, please bear with us. Someone is asking you to please provide more details on the mortgage interest reliefs, how to apply. And I think we'll give an opportunity for one person to ask, and then Mr. Dominic can respond and we can bring the session to a close. Please, if your hand is up, I saw about 4 people's hands up. I don't want to call names, so if you can take up the floor.
Hello, ma'am. So good morning.
Good.
My name is Felix, CAF University. So the Assistant Commissioner mentioned that when it comes to the taxes, it is assessed on profits. But I also know that the Act 896, as amended in Section 2A, they've made a new provision where even where a company or a business makes losses for over 5 years, there is a minimum chargeable income, and it is calculated on the turnover, not profits. So the tax administrator only administers, and the lawmaker makes the law. But I would like his view on the justification for this, and to juxtapose it with his statement that taxes are collected on profits alone.
Okay, an interesting one. Yes, Mr. Dominic, someone has also asked about her question on the NGOs.
Yeah, so I'll take it.
Okay, so then I think you can take the responses now.
All right, thank you very much. So let's look at the NGO. If you look at Section 97 of our Act, that really makes provision for how NGOs should be treated. It's very clear. You need to actually, first of all, get what we call a non-profit making certificate from the Gender Ministry. There's a desk at Gender Ministry that actually sees to that. Then you bring it to GRA, you add a constitution. The constitution should state that you don't engage in partisan politics, or you don't use your platform to give oxygen to partisan politics. And the operation does not confer private benefit on you. Once you are able to demonstrate that, then we'll give you a letter exempting you from tax. Now, the exemption is actually in relation to your investment income. When it comes to business income, that one is taxable. So NGOs that run businesses, like they have transport businesses, they have restaurants that they run, they are required to actually file and pay. But it is only in their operations. So when they receive income from their donors and all those things, we really don't tax those incomes. But you need to, first of all, come to GRA, regularize your operations, then you'll be reckoned as such. Yeah, concerning reliefs. So we are looking at the fact that what is it monthly, yearly? It is granted monthly. So once you pay the relief, we approve of it. They'll give it to you. They use it to this. Then another year, once you apply, then we'll grant it another year. And in fact, whether monthly or I don't know, yeah, they have the same tax effect. Nothing really will change. Yeah, the company that was facing liquidation and came out with their proposals for how to deal with the payments, and GRA declined. I wish you would want to talk to me. Then I understand the issue and get in touch with the office as well and see how we can resolve this issue. I don't think I'll be really close with power to provide an adequate answer when I haven't heard from the other party. So sometimes we need to actually understand what the issues are, that we can provide the appropriate response. So you can engage me outside through Council Tekla, and then we can pick it up from there. She has been my very good friend, so when you get in touch with her, certainly we would have some conversation. Gift under a will is not taxable. Under a will is not taxable, so take note of that. Then low-cost affordable housing. Yes, the law provides what we call a temporary concession. So within 5 years, or first 5 years, you pay tax rate of 5%. Then after that, you will now pay the corporate, tax. So there is a rebate, for such. Foreigners, are they taxed differently from? No, we don't. Taxation is colorblind when it comes to income. So whether you're a foreigner or you are a citizen, if you are providing the same service, you are doing the same distance, we tax you the same distance. We don't discriminate. That can create some upheavals if we decide to discriminate when it comes to taxes. Having said that, there are some incentives that citizens are enjoying that may not be applicable to foreigners. For example, if you have children in school in Ghana, obviously you benefit. A foreigner that has children outside the country cannot benefit. So these are some of the issues. So that one is discrimination by law, but not discrimination by GRA. Is that okay? Then we have mortgage interest. The basis is very clear. What it is that you just have to apply for a loan. The loan should have the various agreements about the loan, how much you are taking, how much you are going to pay, and we should see that being actually processed through your bank statements, that indeed you are paying. We want to just have a proof that indeed it is legitimate loan that you have taken. Once you put up a house or you are about putting up a house, every month you apply the relief to reduce your tax liability. It's actually very good for self-employed and workers as well. So let's take advantage of it. The minimum chargeable income, yes, this was an amendment that came about. And you see, in most countries, this one has come in response to what we think about the artificial nature of some businesses. You put up a business and you are running the business for so many years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, you are making losses, and there's no attempt to stop. You are making losses, and you are not stopping. Yeah, some may have some commitment, long-term commitment. Until I die, I would make sure I keep moving on. Well, that is what it is. So we felt that, look, let's have some provision that would take what we call minimum chargeable income, then we'll tax it. Having said that, is something that has just been introduced, and we are having a backlash. People are fighting it. There have been a lot of concerns, from practicing firms. That alone tells you that they don't agree with it. Is that okay? So it has some challenges as we speak to you, and you are aware that it has challenges. But it doesn't take away the fact that we tax based on income and not capital. So taxing losses, you would even agree with it. Why would we tax losses? But we are saying that you are running the losses over a period. There are exemptions. If you are into farming, you are exempt. If it's also a new operations, you are exempt. Those ones, yes. But we are asking, you are running the business for 10 years, 20 years, some are, and they are running the business. Making losses, meaning you are depleting your capital, and yet you are still in it. That is actually a curiosity, isn't it? Thank you very much.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, we are more, sorry. We are more than 15 minutes past our time. I know tax is a very, very complicated and complex area of law. And we thank God for the support we've gotten from the GRA. Mr. Dominic, it's been wonderful having you, taking us through the entire tax regime. Ladies and gentlemen, as he said, his office is open. If you have more further questions, we are here to assist you. Reach out to GRA to resolve all your tax issues. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I have to sincerely thank Tilly Laurie. You are the first person to join 30 minutes before time. We appreciate that very much. We look forward to seeing each and every one. Mr. Dominic, you've been a great support to our learning and our webinar sessions. It's been wonderful having you today. And we know you are going to definitely come back because I have about 20 questions on the WhatsApp alone. We need more answers. And I read somewhere from Madam Pat, she said that Peter's concern is of importance to many businesses. So she would prefer, or she's advising GRA to address it for all of us. It would be awesome that through our session, that law can be reviewed and then businesses can have flexibility when it comes to withholding taxes. So this is what we are here for, and we thank God that we can have something positive out of our session. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very grateful for the time. We are grateful to our speaker. We are grateful to the TJ team for putting this together, and we are looking forward to our next session next month. Please, for follow-up questions, I've seen people putting their WhatsApp numbers. Once the Zoom goes off, we may not be able to reach you. So please look for the TJ WhatsApp number and text it to that number. It will be easier and faster for us. I have reposted it now quickly, so you can copy it and then you send your messages. And of course, once we get the slides, the recording, we'll share them as well, so they will all be well informed and we can arrange our affairs properly. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we bring our session to a close. We thank you all and see you again next month. Mr. Nab, thank you very much. All right. Bye, everyone.
Hi, Tekla.
Thank you for organizing this meeting for us. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Thank you all.